Hey there, happy Friday, Mel here. I wanted to jump in here, kind of give you something that was on my mind. I was listening to a dear friend of mine this morning, and he was doing a live, and it kind of triggered something. So as you start to jump in, do me a favor, say hello, let me know you're here. We're going to talk about getting a bit uncomfortable, doing things that maybe you're not ready to do, maybe things that you've been procrastinating on and in that type of thing. What do we need to do to get a little uncomfortable? And why do we need to do that? So I'm seeing people jump on. Say hello, let me know you are here. Happy Friday. We are I'm in my home office, you can tell. My branding all around me, the Affluent Entrepreneur Show. And so what I wanted to chat about, this was on my heart, on my mind, this whole idea of living a comfortable life and getting out of that comfort zone, what that looks like. And I know that we talk about this idea of comfort zones all the time, but here's what I believe, what I know, what I've seen, and that is this. Pretty much, if your goals, if your vision is big enough. Now, if your vision isn't that big, then we have to have another conversation. It should be a grand vision, okay? It should be an amazing vision. And if it is a grand vision, which is what I wish for each of you, is to have this huge vision for life, that you get a chance to look at things. But what's going to happen is this. When we create a huge vision for life, when we have new ideas, when we have a new idea to create a business, when we have a desire to create wealth, when we have all those things, there are things that are going to be required of you that you are not yet doing. There might be things that are going to be required of you that you might feel you're not prepared to do yet. But without doing those things, we can't get to the vision. For instance, I hear this all the time, and I have fallen victim to it myself. And that is this. People sitting back and saying, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go live. It breaks me. People can be trolls when they're live. Now, most people are nice, but there's those one or two that might jump in and say something about the beard or the hair or some crazy stuff. But if you're trying to build an online presence, if you're trying to build something and get known for what you know, if you're trying to be an influencer, getting in front of a camera may be required. And if you're not willing to do that, then how do we ever accomplish that vision? If that happens to be your vision, maybe it's not your vision, and I totally get that. But it doesn't matter whether it's that. If you have a vision to turn around and run a marathon one day, but you're not willing to get out there and start running today, you're never going to get a chance to run that marathon. So this is why I say that let's create a vision that is so large that it requires more of you than what you have today. And because in that process we get to grow. There's a hey there, Clorinda. It's so good to have you here. There's a quote that I love by Christopher Columbus, and he said, you can never cross the ocean unless you're willing to lose sight of the shore. You can never cross the ocean unless you're willing to lose sight of the shore. And all I'm saying to you, and I don't care, it could be relationships, it could be business, it could be financial, it could be health, it could be wealth, it doesn't matter what it is. If you want more than what you have today, the question you've got to ask yourself is, what more is demanded of me? What more do I need to give? What is it that I am not willing to cross that threshold, at least right now, not willing to cross that threshold for? Because your goal, the thing that's out there, when I decided that I wanted to create a business, when I decided that I was going to create the show, when I decided that I was going to write a book, when I decided that I wanted to get my black belts, these are hand-painted certificates from my sensei in Japan. My sensei in Japan is a 17th generation samurai bloodline. And I lived in Japan and trained under them. They're hand-painted black belt certificates that I have, and I have 4 of them around the house for my various degrees. Now, point being is this, is that for me to do that, I had to get uncomfortable. I had to do things that I hadn't done before. If you want the business, if you want the relationship, if you want the physique, if you want the health, maybe there are some things that you're not doing that are standing in your way, and we need to get out there and do that. I mean, I literally sold, I cashed out my IRA, I quit my job, and I went to Japan and lived for 4.5 months. I had no idea. Now, freaked out my mom, going, what are you doing? You're throwing away a career and everything. No, I did okay. I came out okay after that. But what is it? I'd love for you to let me know. What is it that you want in your life? Goals, big vision? And what are the things that you know that you need to do that need to get you there? Because here's what I see. We talk about this idea of comfort zones. But I think too often we talk about comfort zones in the construct of a single comfort zone. I actually think we have multiple comfort zones. You have a financial comfort zone. Yeah, that's what I help people with in the Affluent Entrepreneur Show, in the Affluence Blueprint and everything, is that, you know, we've got this thermostat, if you will, this comfort zone of finances and money, and we only go so far with it. You have a relational comfort zone. You know, relationships. You hear about this whole idea of, you know, have a problem with commitment or whatever. That's a comfort zone issue. Okay, that's a comfort zone issue. You have situational comfort zones. I happen to be one that doesn't like crowded places. You know, I'm not one that you're going to find in some crowded concert. Not that there's big crowded concerts these days. You're just not going to find me there. That I happen to have a different comfort zone there. So my question is that, have you taken the time to evaluate your comfort zones? Because here's what I know. If your vision's big enough, if your vision's grand enough, on the other side of that comfort zone wall is your vision. So we either have to figure out how to navigate around it, through it, or over it. In other words, we need to get uncomfortable. In other words, we need to do the things that we have not yet done. Because if we have done the things that we have not yet done, we would already have the vision. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay? So here's why this is so important to get past this comfort zone. And I'm going to challenge you to pick one thing. I have a good friend of mine, Jim, who teaches, and he wants people to get out of the comfort zone. And one of the things he tells them to do, this was before the COVID shutdown, but you know what he had them do? He was teaching a live seminar, and he says, I want you to go to a public place, and I literally want you to lay down on the ground for 5 minutes. In a public place where people are going to look at you and go, what the hell are you doing? Why are you doing it? And the sole purpose is to get you out of the comfort zone, to get you to do something that you haven't done before. Think about this. Everything that we do today was uncomfortable previously. So if you want something in your life that isn't here today, we might have to move through that comfort zone. We might have to put a little pressure on that comfort zone wall. Here's what I know happens. When you do that, you build, for instance, you start to build inner strength. You start to realize the resilience you have, your ability to do more than you already do. Look, before I got diagnosed with cancer, I certainly would have, I didn't have the same appreciation for people that had to go through that. But I would have said, can I go through it? I wouldn't have known. But when your back's against the wall, you find a way. When you have a failed launch, you have the choice. And it is a choice because change is put on you. So change comes in one of two ways. Change by choice. You choose to change. You choose to do things differently. We'll talk about that in a second. Or change by requirement. Change by force. In other words, it's put on you. Okay? So let's just talk about the cancer for a moment. I get diagnosed with cancer. They tell me that sugar fuels cancer. So I got change by force. I got change put on me, if you will. I got change that was given to me. I had to change, but I still had a choice. They told me sugar fuels cancer. I had a sweet tooth. I ate healthy, but trust me, anyone that knows me knows that I had a sweet tooth. Okay, so in a moment, I connected I had to quit the sugar. It's like people ask, how did you quit the sugar? Well, I had a choice. And that choice, in my mind, that choice was on the other side of that comfort zone, but that choice was this. Sugar fuels cancer. Cancer kills. So in my mind, sugar kills. So my choice was die and eat sugar, die sweetly, or don't die. So here's what I did. Got uncomfortable, and this is what I'm going to ask you to do. I went on a 3-day water fast. Literally, 3 days, all I had was water. Now, I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just asking you to go outside your comfort zone, do things that matter. Now, that 3-day water fast was to break the connection with sugar. That was in June of 2019. I've not had any sugar since June of 2019 because I was willing to take that step. Now, I'm not going to say that it was easy. Hell no. And still, every once in a while, I see people that they get that ice cream sundae and I'm going, oh, God. But because I made the connection of what it could do to me, I stay on the other side of that comfort zone. So hopefully that makes sense to you. And we all have those things in our life that we can build the muscle, we can build the strength. Think of your comfort zone wall as resistance training when you go to the gym. You put the weights on the bar. The reason you put the weights on the bar is because they build the muscles. The comfort zone walls are the resistance to build your inner strength muscles. The other thing that happens is this. When you move beyond your comfort zone, when you move beyond the comfort zone, you start to get confidence. You say, wait, that wasn't so bad. I can do this. And there's this thing that's called the confidence-competence loop. That as you do more things, you get more competent, you get more knowledge, you get more skilled. And as you get more knowledge and you get more competent, you get more skill, you get more confidence. That confidence fuels more competence, and it becomes this loop of competence and confidence. And so one of the things that we need to do is to take small steps outside the comfort zone, get micro successes. I've talked about that in the past, so we can gain a little bit of confidence to take the next step. It's about building your competence so you can build your confidence and move forward. So moving outside the comfort zone is a place where you can build the confidence. Number 3, when we move outside our comfort zone, we build into our demeanor, into our personality, into our soul, adaptability. Listen, here's the deal. Change is here. If you don't think so, look back on the last 12 months. And if you were not adaptable during those last 12 months, it was a miserable 12 months. But the more adaptable you are, the more you'll be able to thrive in times of change. And times are changing. They truly are. And change is coming, and guess what? Here's the hard thing to realize. Change is coming, and it doesn't care whether you like it or not. Change came to my life. It didn't care whether I liked it or not. I either deal with it or I don't. If I lose money in the market, say you were in cryptocurrencies, goosh, it's been a rough week for cryptocurrencies. Now, I don't know where it is today, but literally they lost, Bitcoin lost half its value. It went from 60,000 to 30,000 at one point in time, and it's back up a bit. But imagine for a moment that you had a bunch of money in there and it dropped 50%, okay? Oof, that could hurt. But the question is, what did you learn? What are you going to do with it? How are you going to move forward? All those things, there's adaptability. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't hurt financially and we got to do some other things. I'm not saying to go get Bitcoin. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not giving any financial advice on this. But understand that you build adaptability into your being. So when change comes, it doesn't freak you out. I have a dear friend, okay? Okay, this is a mean thing to do, but it was really, really funny. At least it was funny to me. Okay, so he's like meticulous. Everything has to be where he has it. And I was over there for his daughter's birthday party. And he has this shelf unit with like cubes in it. And he has little things in each of the cubes. So everything is in its place. And if it's out of its place, it wigs him out. So what did I do? I rearranged the things in the cubes. I moved them all around. And I just left it that way. Well, he's so OCD. But here's the thing. He sends me a note the next day. He says, I know you're the one that did it. I know that you're the one that moved everything on all my shelves. He says, I know that they're moved, but I don't remember where they should be. He said, but now it's driving me crazy. I keep moving them around and I can't get comfortable with it and I don't understand it. And why would you do this to me? I mean, this is someone that has no adaptability. Okay? And so you look at that, and now to me, I'm laughing. I thought it was hilarious. I don't know if he ever got it straightened out, but we're still friends today. But I don't think he invites me. He hasn't invited me to his house since then because he's afraid I'm going to rearrange the furniture next time, which I've done I did that to a friend in a hotel room. We got in the hotel room and rearranged the furniture. But so I digress. I'm sorry. So getting on the other side of the comfort zone starts to build adaptability into your soul. And as things change, as things shift in your business, in your money, don't blame him, huh? I better take responsibility for it, Rachel. But it was hilarious. Oh my God. Sorry. The other thing that happens when we get outside the comfort zone is that it starts to spur new seeds of thinking. Because on the other side of the comfort zone are new seeds of possibility. We see things differently when we sit back and say, oh, that wasn't that bad. I did okay. I went live 3 times this week and it was all right. Okay? I did all right. And you know what? Look, I stumble over my words at times. I've got a video editor, and when we talked about the show that I'm doing, the Affluent Entrepreneur Show, he said, I can do the edits. I said, here's the deal. Here's the deal. We're not doing some high production show. I want it to look nice, but I don't want you to cut out an or an ah unless there's like 32 in a sentence, okay? I want this to be real because it's conversational. I'm going to get on there. I'm going to be real. This is who I am. If you meet me on the street, this is who I am. This is how I am. This is how I talk. This is who I am. And I want the show to be the same way. So I specifically said I don't want the editing to be so over-edited that it feels like some production. They go, who's this guy? Even my book, The Entrepreneur Solution, I actually spoke the book and we converted that into the book because we wanted to be more in my natural voice. And so I look at it and say, when you get outside the comfort zone, it'll start to spur new ideas. You'll start to see things differently. If I'm looking at this bottle, which I have to drink 2 or 3 of these a day, if I'm looking at this bottle, it looks different from this side than it does from this side. And so what happens is that if I'm staying inside the bottle, I can't see what's on that side of the bottle. Getting out of the comfort zone, outside the bottle, I get to see everything around. So we want to get outside the comfort zone. And the last thing of why we want to do this is that if we never get out of our comfort zone, we live in this little box, we never know what's possible. We never know what's possible. Here's another quote for you. T.S. Eliot, this is another quote that it's actually in my book. And he said, he effectively said that only those who are willing to risk going too far, only those who are willing to risk going too far will know how far they can go. Only those who are willing to risk going too far will know how far they can go. It's a great analogy, Rachel. See? I didn't plan on it, but the bottle was there. So here's the thing. Only those that are willing to risk going too far will know how far they can go. T.S. Eliot. And so one of the things to think about is this. Have you and where have you risked going too far? Where have you extended yourself? Where have you put yourself out there and done that? So this is the game. So understanding that we need to get uncomfortable. And so I got a question on Facebook that says, what's the best way to push yourself outside your comfort zone? This is a great question, Gina. And that's where we're going next. All right. So One of the things that I hear a lot, because I'm dealing in the financial realm, in the money realm, is that I'll hear from someone that'll say, I'm not a numbers person. I've never been good with money. Okay? Listen, when I first tried to walk, I wasn't really good at walking either. I can walk now, although I still trip every once in a while. We didn't know how to tie our shoes at one point. Okay? Everything that we do today, we didn't know how to do previously. And so this whole thing of I've never been good with money becomes a challenge, but really all it is self-imposed limitations. It's not because you don't have the capability. It never is. It's not because you don't have the capacity. It never is. It might be because you don't have the desire. But the lack of desire might be because there's some confusion. You haven't had a chance to have someone walk you through it. Look, the financial services industry is notorious for overcomplicating things and talking down to you. That I hate. And because then you sit back and you're reluctant to even ask a question. That's why I have the show the way I have the show. We're not going to worry about, we're going to ask all the questions. There isn't an embarrassing question. There isn't a judgmental question. There isn't a dumb question. This is about moving the journey. So it doesn't matter what it is, we need to think about how to do it. So how do we push ourselves outside the comfort zone? There's a couple things that I took some notes. First off is that I don't know how you set goals, but I set a couple of different categories of goals. And the first set of goals is my visionary goals. What do I want out of life? And I look at all the domains of life, and I do this in the affluence visioning process. We do this also, but all the domains of life, everything from health, wealth, relationships, spirituality, energetically. We look at all of them and we set those goals. But there's another set of goals, because remember I said that if your vision is big enough, there are things that are going to be required of you today to get there that you don't currently do, you don't currently have. Maybe it's, I got to learn coding, or I need to learn copywriting, or I need to learn about money, or I need to learn about investing. Those are things that maybe you don't have the skills or the confidence in today. But in order to be wealthy, in order to do the things you want to do tomorrow, to have that vision, that there are skills that we need to develop. And so the second category of goals is what I call growth goals. So I look at my vision and I look at what I want and I say, in order to achieve that, what are the growth goals that need to be in place to make that a possibility? So I question if one of the first things you want to do is to make sure that you have specific growth goals that will move you closer to your vision. And if it is, I want to build my business. For instance, I'm going to be speaking next week on a program that we're talking about how do you build a business? How do you get the right message to the right ears at the right time in the right way so they will listen to you, buy from you, and buy from you at a high price? How would that be? All right? That's the cool way to go. And here's the thing. Too often, the world in marketing, they think that the way to market is to yell louder in a crowded market. Yelling louder in a crowded market is just more noise. Here's what I think you need to do. I think you need to gather the right people in the corner. And you need to get up close and you need to whisper the right words in their right ears, in the right way, at the right time. That's what marketing should be. And we talk about niche or niche, depending on what that is, but that's what we're really trying to do. I speak to a specific group of people, and I use specific message to make sure that we can get some specific results. But too often, and this is one of the challenges, especially in my old profession of the accounting, is that they've commoditized it. They've commoditized it in such a way that everyone sounds the same. But we need to create distinction. And the only way to create distinction is to make sure that you know who you're speaking to, what words they need to hear, how they need to hear them, and when they need to hear them. It's called messaging. It's called niching down. It's called that. And I'm going to be involved with something coming up this week. I'm going to send an email out tomorrow to y'all, so you all know about it. So maybe you'll join me. We'll have a chance to go deeper on this concept. But my question for you, really more importantly, is this. Do you have growth goals? If we don't have growth goals, Gina, if you don't have growth goals, then it's more challenging to get you out of your comfort zone. So number one, set growth goals that are going to move you outside the comfort zone. Number two, I want you to calendar those growth goals. Whatever the discomfort is, whatever the uncomfortable situation is, I want you to put it on the calendar. When I came back from the cancer, I've been out of the game effectively for 2 years. And when I came back, I said, I want to get back out live. And I didn't. I kept saying, this week. No, next week. Next week. I could find every excuse in the book why not to do it. And I didn't do it until I calendared it. And I said, no, I got to break this habit. So one of the ways to break the habit, and I'm specifically talking to Gina, but to everyone because she asked the question, is to put something on the calendar, whatever that comfort zone is. If you're sitting back and saying, I want to start going live, or I want to post on Instagram, I want you to put it on the calendar. But that's not enough because we can always move a calendar appointment. So what I did is I put a webinar on the calendar. I put a page out there, and then I told a Facebook ads person, I said, I want you to start running ads to it. Now, my money was out there, my page was out there, and I went to the public and screamed it to the hills and said, I'm doing a webinar, come join me. Now, once one person registered, I was done. I said, I gotta show up. But that's what got me back in the game. So depending on what it is, maybe it's whether it's learning a language, whether it's learning a new skill, what I would do is get it on the calendar and then get an accountability person or put it out in public. Hey, make the claim and drive the stake in the ground and say, here's who I am. Here's what I'm going to do next. It becomes huge. My dear friend Bo Eason used to say, schedule your fears. Well, he still says it. Schedule your fears. I get it. The fears get in the way. I get it. I've got plenty of them. I am no different than any of you. And I struggle with it all the time. I could have easily found reasons not to go live right now. But if I want to have the goals of having the impact that I'm trying to have, I need to go live right now. So I gotta make that a priority. So calendar it, growth goals, calendar it, put it out in public. Okay. Number 4, who or what can help you skill up to make moving through this comfort zone easier? Let's say you're trying to deal with it in the business or financial realm. Okay. I'm biased here. So I'm going to say, go subscribe to my show. Send me questions. Let me help. Who out there can help you move past that barrier of your comfort zone faster, easier, and better? What book, what training, what coach, what mentor can you get to that can help you transition easier, to support you? Look, I've had coaches, I've had teachers, I've had mentors, I've had them all. Whether it's in the speaking realm, whether it's in business, whether it's in web work and copywriting, I didn't know this. I was trained as a freaking accountant, numbers, columns and rows and debits and credits and all that stuff. I mean, I didn't know this. But part of it came out of necessity. When your need to get past that comfort zone, the vision you have becomes so much, the necessity to achieve that becomes greater than the fear to shrink down, you'll move through it. With the cancer, the necessity to live out just dwarfed my desire for sugar. Now, I'm not saying that sugar is the thing that gave it to me. We have no idea why I ended up with the cancer. But the fact of the matter is that the necessity to live far outweighed it. Okay? And so I think we need to look at that. So that's how I would look at it, at least as the starting point, depending on what the specifics are, Gina, is to really figure out what your vision is, make it bigger and beyond your comfort zone. Figure out what you need to achieve that vision and make those growth goals. Calendar those growth goals is number 3. Number 4, find someone, something, some course, some book, some training that you can get involved with that can accelerate or ease your path through the comfort zone wall to move you through there. Because all I need is just a glimmer and glimpse of success. I can do it. When I get that, that's a micro success that gets and starts to build the confidence, which builds the competence and gets you in that competence loop. And when we start to celebrate, I did an interview earlier today, and he says, what's one of the pieces of advice that you would give people to continue their success, to be in the top 2%, top 3%? And I said, celebrate progress. Too often, we're waiting for the destination. We're waiting to run at the finish line and we're done. Nah, I think that's overrated. Celebrate progress. Because if we celebrate along the way, the little mini celebrations, we're going to get a big celebration when we cross the finish line. But too often, we've gotten bad at not celebrating progress. We shouldn't be judging ourselves based on someone else's launch. We shouldn't be judging ourselves based on what other people are doing. We shouldn't be judging ourselves on what we see on Facebook or Instagram or anything else. We shouldn't be judging ourselves on what the neighbors are driving. I mean, this is what got people broke. People are keeping up with the Joneses and they're spending money. The neighbor bought a Tahoe. I got to go get a Denali and look at their house. I'm going to go spend this. And they do it on credit and they end up in debt and they wonder why that's happening. And it's because they're making decisions based on the inputs from the outside that have nothing to do with their values. Sorry, I get riled up. So the point is that what I think we need to start to look at is specific to you. Specific to you, so we can then make that happen. So what is the vision for you? What are the things that you need? What's on the other side of that comfort zone? Because remember, you've got far more in you than you think. I had a martial arts studio for 11 years. And when we tested everyone for black belt. Now, mind you, my training was classic training in Japan. From my sensei was the seventh generation bloodline from a samurai bloodline. So discipline under his tutelage was very different than what you would get out here. All right. And I got plenty of welts to show for it. But when I tested the students at our school for black belt, it was a 4.5 hour test. Now, they went through all their forms, they went through all their techniques, they went through all their defenses, they went through all of that stuff. Then they sparred each other. Then they sparred all the black belts, and the last person they sparred was me. Now, my black belt instructors knew their sole job was to get them to teeter on the edge of collapse. That we were going to get them to the edge of collapse. We wanted to see in their eyes that they were ready to give up. And then they had to spar me, and they had to spar me for 3 minutes. 180 seconds. And I looked at them and each of them, and I said, here's the deal. You got 180 seconds. It's not about beating me. It's about getting through it. They go, I ain't got one. I ain't got nothing more. And I go, no, you do. Let's go. And I kept them just on the edge. And then when they got done and they got their black belt and we gave them the black and we did the ceremony, I looked at them and I said, it was a long test, wasn't it? And they said, yeah. 4.5, 5 hours sometimes. I said, no, it wasn't 4.5, 5 hours. It took us 4.5 to 5 hours to get you to the test. The test was 3 minutes, 180 seconds. Because what's going to happen in your life is that you're going to get to a point in your life where all of a sudden you feel that you got nothing left in you. You got nothing that you can do. You can't go one step further. You can't go one step more. It may be health. It may be wealth. It may be relationships. It may be work. It may be something. Just like you felt here in the dojo. You looked me in the eye and said, I ain't got anything. I can't go any further. But you did. You did. You got 180 seconds more and you stayed in the game. When life hands that to you, you stay in the game. You don't realize how much further you can go. Because our mind is much stronger than we give it credit for. You have no idea what your possibility is, and your possibility is on the other side of that wall, the other side of the comfort zone wall. We need to look at that. Think about the T.S. Eliot quote. And that is that it's only those that are willing to go too far that have any idea how far they can go. And so I'm challenging you for this weekend to start looking at the areas of your life that you want to expand, that you want to grow. Not through the eyes of your current thinking, but through the eyes of possibility, and to say, what is it that I can do to push up against that comfort zone wall, to move beyond the comfort zone? Who do I need? What do I need? And do something uncomfortable this weekend. Do something uncomfortable this weekend. I'm doing something this weekend. It has nothing to do with this. Okay, this is probably a really dumb thing from a dude. But so we have some brick on the house. Okay, I'm not a house project kind of dude. All right. Here's how I do my house projects. Can you come and get here? Okay, yeah. And I'll have someone come and do it. But we have this brick, and we want to do something called white overgrout. So we want to change the brick, so instead of it being all bright orange, it's going to be kind of a whitish orange with white grout and all that stuff. And I watched a couple of YouTube videos, and I go, honey, this doesn't look that hard. So we ordered all the stuff. It's being delivered today. And my wife's and I bonding weekend project this weekend is to do what they call smearing, German smear on the brick. I don't know. This could be a disaster. We'll film it. I'll let you know how it goes. But it is definitely outside my comfort zone. All right. So, all right. One more question, and then I'll let you guys go for the weekend and everything. But watch for an email from me tomorrow, because I've got something I'm going to be speaking also next week, and it's about building your business. We're going to talk about building your business so we can build your wealth and everything. But any tips for picking the right mentor? There's so many out there to pick from. So this is a great question. I actually did a whole session on this, and I know you'd be surprised that I have a framework on it. Maybe I'll redo the session on the new show for you. But bottom line is this: there's a couple things that I think we need to understand. I actually differentiate between coaches and mentors. They're different. Okay, a mentor to me is someone that's actually already walked the path. They've been there, they know the potholes, they experienced it, and they can truncate and shorten your time to success. They truly understand where you're going, okay? A coach may not necessarily have achieved the results that you've achieved, but they understand the perspective and how to shift perspectives to allow you to move through it. So they're different in the way I look at things. So you can get a coach, or you can get a mentor, or you can get a combination of both. I see myself as both, but I see myself more as a mentor than a coach in the way I approach things. But there's a couple characteristics I want to look for. First off, if I'm looking for a mentor, have they done the things that I want to do? Do they have the experience, the expertise, the knowledge, and the understanding to help me move through the challenges and through that comfort zone? Number two, my buddy Evan Carmichael just jumped on. Number two is do they have a similar set of values? I don't want to work with a mentor that has a vastly different set of values. We're not going to have the same set of values, but a mentor or a coach, I want them to have a similar set of values. There needs to be some values alignment in there, so we can have conversations that are truly meaningful and they understand it. Number three, Will they take the time to understand the vision that I am going after to help me through it? Now, understand your results are your results. They're not your mentors. They're not your coach's results. They're yours, and they become your responsibility. But they need to be willing to understand that this makes sense, okay? Thank you, Evan, my friend. So here's the thing. So values, then this is the next thing that I look for in a mentor. Are they accessible? Okay, that one part of it might mean, are they accessible physically? Can you talk to them when you need to talk to them? Can you Voxer them? Can you call them? Can you text them? Can you email them? How that goes. But also, are they there? Are they present? Are they present? Do they have truly an interest in your outcome? Are they, I guess you could say, are they emotionally accessible to you? Because if they're not, then it doesn't matter. So, that's the starting point that I would look for is look at that. And then the other side of that is then to get references. Talk to people that have worked with them before and be really clear about and deliberate about what your outcomes are before you select. Why would you choose this mentor? Why would you choose to work with this person? And that there has to be an agreement on expectations, just like any other relationship. What is your expectations? What are their expectations? What are your inputs? What's your responsibility to bring to that relationship? And what is their responsibility to bring to that relationship? There's got to be an agreement up front. And if there isn't an agreement up front, the relationship will fall apart. There'll be resentment. There'll be problems. You'll blame the system. You'll blame the process. You'll blame the mentor. But a lot of the times it's just we weren't on the same page. Okay. Hopefully that helps, Gina. But great questions. I just wanted to jump in here. Bottom line is this. I want you to push yourself out of that comfort zone. Do something uncomfortable this weekend. This weekend, start the journey. Whatever that vision is. So make sure your vision's grand. Build growth goals to fit that vision. Calendar the growth goals as to when it's going to be done. Get someone as an accountability partner. Make an announcement to the world what your commitment is. Not your interest, but your commitment. Okay? And then let's get after it. And if you need support, if you need help with any of it, do me a favor. DM me. Send me a note. Let's keep going because you're not alone. We all have that. I have the same things. I have the same challenges. I have the same fears. I have to go through this too. So why not do it together? Let's just do this thing together. Do something uncomfortable. I'll let you know how this whole brick thing goes. So you'll see how that goes. It could be an absolute freaking disaster. So we'll see. In the meantime, you guys keep rocking. And watch for my email. If you're not on my list, get on my list. I'm going to be sending an email out tomorrow about this training that I'm going to be involved with at the end of next week. So we can help you start to scale a business, scale your profits, scale your wealth, rock and roll. All right? You guys have an incredible weekend, and we'll talk soon. All right? Cheers.